For those who love bold, funky flavors, blue cheese is a must-try. Achieving that distinctive sharpness involves adding Penicillium roqueforti spores to your cheese base during the culturing phase. These spores are responsible for the characteristic veins and intense flavor of blue cheeses. While sourcing the spores might require a bit of research, the payoff is worth it. Imagine serving a homemade cashew-based blue cheese alongside figs and honey at your next dinner party. It's sure to impress. Texture is another aspect where vegan cheese shines. Some recipes call for setting the cheese in molds or using dehydrators to achieve specific consistencies. For example, you can create a semi-hard cheese by pressing the mixture firmly into a mold and allowing it to dry partially in a dehydrator. This method works particularly well for cheeses meant to be grated, like Parmesan or Romano. Simply blend nuts, nutritional yeast, garlic powder, and salt, then press the mixture into a small disc. Dehydrate it for several hours until it holds together but remains crumbly enough to grate easily. Sprinkle it over pasta dishes, soups, or roasted vegetables for an instant flavor boost. On the sweeter side of things, dessert cheeses are a delightful surprise. Think creamy mascarpone-style spreads infused with vanilla bean or chocolate hazelnut cheesecake filling made from blended dates, cashews, and cocoa powder. These indulgent treats blur the line between cheese and dessert, offering a guilt-free way to satisfy your sweet tooth. Presentation matters too. Just like traditional cheeses, vegan varieties benefit from thoughtful styling. Roll logs of herb-coated goat cheese in dried lavender or pistachio crumbs. Swirl marbled patterns into soft cheeses using beetroot puree or turmeric paste. Even something as simple as arranging slices of orange zest or edible flowers on top of a wheel of brie can elevate its appearance dramatically. Storage is straightforward. Most vegan cheeses keep well in the fridge for up to a week, though firmer styles can last longer. Always store them in airtight containers to maintain freshness. For longer-term storage, consider freezing portions of harder cheeses. They thaw beautifully and retain their texture upon reheating. Finally, let's talk about pairing. Much like wine, vegan cheeses pair wonderfully with complementary flavors. Soft, mild cheeses shine alongside sweet fruits like grapes, apples, or pears. Firmer, sharper cheeses stand up to salty accompaniments like olives, pickles, or cured meats plant-based of. Let me take you on a journey into the world of vegan cheese making, where we'll explore how to create rich, creamy, and absolutely delicious plant-based cheeses that will blow your mind. I'm so excited to share this with you because it's one of my favorite things to make and eat. Vegan cheese has come such a long way from those sad, plasticky blocks you might remember seeing years ago. Today, thanks to some clever ingredient combinations and techniques, you can make artisanal vegan cheeses at home that rival their dairy counterparts in flavor, texture, and versatility. First off, let's talk about why vegan cheese is worth making. Whether you're vegan, lactose intolerant, or just curious about expanding your culinary repertoire, learning how to craft your own cheese opens up endless possibilities for creativity. Plus, there's something incredibly satisfying about knowing exactly what goes into your food and being able to customize it to suit your taste buds. And trust me, once you try these recipes, you won't believe they're entirely plant-based. Now, before we dive into the nitty-gritty, let's cover the basics, ingredients, and tools. For most vegan cheeses, you'll need a few key staples. Cashews are often the star of the show because they blend beautifully into a creamy base when soaked or boiled. Garlic adds depth and pungency, while onion powder brings a savory note. Lemon zest and juice provide brightness and acidity, mimicking the tangy flavors found in traditional cheeses. Nutritional yeast is another essential. It gives vegan cheese its signature cheesy, nutty flavor. Sea salt enhances everything, and olive oil adds richness and smoothness. Finally, fresh herbs like chopped dill can elevate the final product. With bursts of freshness.as for equipment, you don't need anything fancy. A good blender or high-speed food processor is crucial for achieving that silky smooth consistency. Cheesecloth comes in handy for shaping and draining certain types of cheeses, but if you don't have any, you can get creative with alternatives like fine mesh strainers lined with clean kitchen towels. Beyond that, basic kitchen tools like pots, colanders, and mixing bowls will do the trick. Alright, let's start with a simple recipe that serves as an excellent introduction to vegan cheese making: a soft, spreadable cashew-based cheese. This is the kind of cheese you'd slather on crackers, dollop onto sandwiches, or serve alongside fruits and nuts as part of a charcuterie board. It's versatile, easy to make, and packed with flavor. To begin, grab a pot and fill it with water. Add raw cashews. You'll want about 2 cups for a decent-sized batch. Place the pot over high heat and bring the water to a boil. Once boiling, reduce the heat slightly and let the cashews simmer for about 10 minutes. Stir them occasionally to prevent sticking. The goal here is to soften the cashews so they blend effortlessly later. After 10 minutes, remove the pot from the heat, drain the water, and set the cashews aside. Next, it's time to assemble your flavor powerhouse. In a blender, combine the softened cashews with minced garlic, usually 1 clove per cup of cashews, a teaspoon of onion powder, the zest and juice of half a lemon, a couple tablespoons of nutritional yeast, a pinch of sea salt, and a drizzle of olive oil. If you're feeling adventurous, toss in some chopped dill for extra flair. Blend everything together until the mixture is completely smooth and creamy. You may need to stop and scrape down the sides a few times to ensure even blending. Add small amounts of water as needed to help the process along, but be careful not to make the mixture too thin. Once blended, transfer the cheese mixture to a colander lined with cheesecloth. Gather the edges of the cloth and twist them gently. To form a bundle, tie the top loosely with string or a rubber band, then place the bundle in the refrigerator overnight. This step allows excess moisture to drain out, giving the cheese a firmer texture. By morning, you'll have a beautifully shaped round of vegan cheese ready to unmold and enjoy. Carefully unwrap the cheesecloth and marvel at your creation. The cheese should hold its shape nicely while still retaining a soft, spreadable interior. At this point, you can garnish it with additional herbs, spices, or even a sprinkle of smoked paprika for visual appeal. Serve it with crunchy crackers, sliced baguette, or fresh vegetables for dipping. Trust me, this cheese is so good that people won't believe it's vegan. Its creamy texture and complex flavor profile make it a standout addition to any snack, platter, or appetizer spread. But wait, this is just the beginning. Let's say you're ready to level up and experiment with more advanced vegan cheeses. How about a melty, gooey mozzarella-style cheese? Or perhaps a sharp, aged cheddar? With a few tweaks to your technique and ingredient list, you can achieve a wide variety of textures and flavors. For instance, to make a stretchy, pizza-worthy mozzarella, you'll incorporate agar-agar or tapioca starch into the mix. These natural thickeners help mimic the meltability of dairy-based cheeses. Start by soaking cashews again, then blend them with water, nutritional yeast, lemon juice, salt, and a tablespoon of tapioca starch. Heat the mixture gently on the stove until it thickens and becomes glossy. Pour it into a mold and chill it until firm. When melted, this cheese pulls apart in satisfying strands, perfect for topping pizzas, lasagnas, or grilled sandwiches. If you're aiming for something firmer and sliceable, like a block of cheddar, you'll follow a similar process but include probiotics or Rejuvelac, a fermented liquid made from sprouted grains to introduce cultures that develop flavor over time. After blending your base ingredients, pour the mixture into a container and let it sit at room temperature for 24 to 48 hours. During this fermentation period, the cultures work their magic, deepening the cheese's flavor and creating a sharper, more mature profile. Once fermented, transfer the cheese to the fridge to firm up further. Slice it thinly and use it in sandwiches, burgers, or salads, and don't forget about nut-free options. Not everyone can tolerate nuts, so it's helpful to know alternative bases for vegan cheese. Sunflower seeds, for example, make an excellent substitute for cashews. They're affordable, widely available, and yield a similarly creamy result when blended. Simply soak them overnight, rinse well, and proceed with your recipe as usual. Another option is using cooked potatoes or carrots as a base. These starchy vegetables lend themselves well to creating smooth, spreadable cheeses. Herbs and spices play a huge role in customizing your vegan cheeses. Want a smoky Gouda? Add smoked paprika and a touch of liquid smoke. Craving a herby feta? Mix in dried oregano, thyme, and cracked black pepper. The possibilities are endless, limited only by your imagination. Experimenting with different combinations is half the fun. One tip I always emphasize is to taste as you go. Unlike baking, which requires precision, cheese making is more flexible. Adjust the seasoning to suit your preferences. Add more nutritional yeast for cheesiness, more lemon juice for tang, or more salt for balance. Don't be afraid to tweak the recipe until it's exactly what you're craving. Speaking of cravings, let's address one of the biggest misconceptions about vegan cheese, that it doesn't taste real. Sure, it might not be identical to dairy cheese, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Vegan cheeses offer unique flavors and textures that stand on their own merits. Plus, they come without the environmental impact or ethical concerns associated with animal agriculture. And honestly, once you've had a perfectly ripe wheel of homemade almond ricotta or a decadent wheel of truffle-infused cache brie, you won't miss the dairy version one bit. Another exciting avenue to explore is cultured vegan cheeses. Culturing involves introducing live bacteria to your cheese base, much like how traditional cheeses are made. This not only enhances the flavor but also improves digestibility and nutritional value. To culture your cheese, you can use store-bought probiotic capsules or powders specifically designed for cheese making. Simply dissolve the probiotics in a little water and mix them into your blended cheese base before letting it ferment. Over time, the cultures will transform the cheese, developing nuanced notes of umami and complexity.